Hello, friends. Good morning, good night, good evening. I don't know where are you from. Here with Sercan with us, Flutter expert. He is going to take a session on Dash on Fire, Flutter with Firebase. So now over to Sercan. So you can take a session from now.
Okay, thank you, thank you, Mayor. Hello, everyone. It's Sercan from Istanbul. I guess if you are good and stay safe and stay home, please at these days. So today I'm gonna talk about usage of Flutter tools on of Firebase tools on Flutter. So before that, I'm gonna introduce myself to you. My name is Sercan Yusuf, and I'm a senior Flutter developer at a company called Otomatto. Also, I'm an organizer at GDG Istanbul, which I organize many events since 4 years. So today, what we gonna see? Today we're gonna see a little bit a Flutter overview. If anyone in there who don't knows about Flutter and what does mean Flutter, I will talk a little bit about on it, and after that, I will pass to the Firebase overview. I will talk about the Firebase tools, what they are doing, and why we are using and need to use them. So after that, we're gonna talk about a basic app requirements. So and then we were separately go to the our tools to use our app from the Firebase to out Firestore storage, analytics, and Crashlytic, and I'm gonna explain why that's. So from beginning, Flutter is Google's portable UI toolkit for building beautiful, native, and great-looking applications for mobile, web, desktop from a single code base. I guess this is the best explanation for the explaining the Flutter. What does meaning Flutter? Because yeah, we have a single code base, and we can control it, the web, mobile, desktop, every device from that code base, and that it's a great thing. It's such a great thing because I'm also using my everyday life and my professional life from the single code base. I am taking builds from the iOS devices, Android devices. Also, sometimes I build from that code base a web build. So yeah, Flutter give us such a great opportunity to do that. And with Flutter, we have a great and beautiful UIs, native looking UIs with rich motion. So which device you take your hand, it can handle the Flutter code. So you can see the flow about on the screen. So it not take any harder case on your device. So about Flutter, it starts all the things years ago, but it came to the frontier at with the beta release at Google I/O 2018. So after that, Flutter has so much scanning graphics from all the numbers, with the packages and repositories inside the Flutter. We have about not about the more about more than 2,000 packages, and for the GitHub stars, we just passed 9,000, but I didn't updated the number there. And in the apps, for the apps, we have about 10,000 app in the Play Store, and up to 6,000 from the Apple Store, I guess. And for the contribution, there are so much contributions on Flutter framework because it's open source. You can also go to the flutter.web and can search and can deep dive into the code base and the tools. Also, you can go to the GitHub page to see the open source, and you can contribution also. So for the Firebase, what we're gonna have on Firebase. So Firebase is another Google's technology, we say, because also Flutter is Google's technology. So and he provides us so many tools that we can use along our apps and user model and the grow model. So what does mean the apps that have the tools that help us for our growth model? First of all, you can do all your operations with your authentication and the user, and you can handle and get all the user data and store it and use it, and also build such a different things with your data. For example, with MLKit, maybe. And after that, you can track and get the performance from all your code base with Crashlytic and performance monitoring, and you can see all the crashes along your users and which user they handle crash and face with crash and why, and you can solve and you can solve it. You can debug it. So after that, you can have all the metrics for your users and what are doing in your app, what are going in your app, is there a problem or is there something wrong if they facing. If there is something wrong, you can use predictions or remote config to get the things better, to set the things better. So yeah. So imagine we have a Flutter app. So what an app needs. So we have so much users along apps, and we need something that store our users and know about them. So we want something to out the user, right? And the other thing, we want to store user file because user come us and he want to upload his picture, he want to upload his files, he want to download such things, and at the one point you have to store the user's data somewhere. So with the user and with the user's data, you can how you can handle it when the question come up. It comes up with answer the data. You can store the data and get the files data and the user data together and put it somewhere. You can do it also with some database. So we need some database object in the middle of that. So after that, we have to for our app, for our great feature, we say we have to analyze the user's behavior. So which screen user face some problem, or which user which screen user passes more time and why. So we wanna know if we know that we have such a great experience, and we can set the more great experience for the user to have. So the last thing, so prevent user from crash. So to know that, we have to know where user go and when he or she did crash. So we have to track the crashes. So all the things that I told about 5 things. Firebase give us a solution about that. So for the user, Firebase give us the Firebase authentication. And for the storage, we have Firebase storage. And for database, we have Cloud Firestore. Also, we have the real-time database, but Cloud Firestore is more popular, and they are such a have little bit differences. But it's okay. Firestore is such give us our what we need. And also Firebase has the analytics, so we can use in our app. And also Firebase gives us a Crashlytic tool, so we can keep and track the crashes all over the app. So how we do that? How we do and set all the things together in our app. So let's start from the beginning and from the login screen, as we say, and we will starting from the authentication. So when the Firebase comes such a great tool to us, Dart loves Firebase, and it brings us to the Dash on Fire thing. Okay, so first thing first, we will have to create a Firebase project. To do that, you can go to the console.firebase.com, and you can create your Firebase project, and you can give it your package name. It also be the same package name if you're using your app, also in Android side, also the and the iOS side, both. So after that, when you're past the second phase of registration, Firebase gives you a Google Service JSON, or for the iOS devices, it gives you so Firebase Service plist. So for the Android, you have to take the Google Service JSON and put it inside the app directory in your Android directory of your Flutter project. And for the iOS side, you have to put it in the runner, and after that you have open the Xcode, and for right clicking runner you have to add files to runner and add the Google services plist in your app. After that, we will complete the adding things. So we will pass to the adding dependencies. So for the dependencies, Firebase needs such a couple dependencies for the Android, and also the other sites for the work, and for working without crashes and without problems. So for the Android build Gradle part of the dependencies, we have to add 2 dependency, the Google service and build Gradle. Then the other Gradle file that we say in our Android app, we have to add the Google services at the bottom. So after that, we can pass to the pubspec YAML to the Flutter site, and we can add whatever Flutter dependency we want. Some of them has special configurations and special addings. We have to do some other addings to the our Android site, but I will talk about them. So after adding dependencies, don't forget about get the dependencies with Flutter pub get, and after that you can clean it, and for the getting such a great result. And if you're getting some errors, maybe you can try to upgrade your Flutter version, or you can tracking your logs if you face some problem, or you can search about them. For the iOS side, you have to after adding all the dependencies, you have to install pods for your application, for your iOS application. And if there is any problem, you can they integrate your pods that it erase all of them and installs from beginning. So from the authentication, let's start. So Firebase give us such a plenty authentication services from the email, password, and like phone, Google, and to the Apple and Microsoft and Facebook services. So you can put anything in your Firebase login service to login from your Flutter app, but we will starting from basics, and I also select the most common services for this presentation. So for creating some user, let's say, you can use the Firebase create user with password, so you can give it the email and password. You can just created the your user, and you now have the Firebase user that you can use it in your app. So but it's not just simple with creating user. You can after have to sign in with it. So with signing in you can easily sign in with email and password with Firebase using Flutter. But if you face some problem, I also add the some error cases of the Firebase signing, so the authentication. So also you can return them, and also you can tell the user what the problem he or she faced and what the solution maybe. So great thing is sign in with Google, but there is some tricky thing in there. So when you try to sign in with Google, you may face some problems, and for the solve this problem, the best way is adding your app signature like SHA-1 or SHA-1 or SHA uh, 258. So in your Firebase package, so you can also edit the from Firebase your Firebase project, and under your Firebase project configurations, you can find the signature things for your app signature, and you can add this configuration, this SHAs to there. And after that you adding these, you can safely sign in with Google in your app. So also when you sign in, you can have also the out that user, also the user UID or name or display name, whatever you want. Yeah. So let's back to the Firebase panel a little bit. So from the top left, you can see the user sign-in method template and usages. And the users, you can see the user list that all the users created for our app. The sign-in method, just I told the beginning of authentication section, there are so many sign-in services that you can add enable for your application, but the template is the important part for me and for the authentication, because when the user face some problem with losing their passwords or losing their email or some verification with PON maybe, you can configure all the texts and all the mail displays from this section, and you can do such a private things for your application. Also you can change them whatever you want. Yeah. So after that, when we pass the login and the panel section. So you can see there the reset password and get current user, and for the sign out methods. So easily you can have the reset password mail for your user, and for the get current user, and also for sign out. So from there we ending the authentication section for our app, and we passing to the storage. So storage, why we need storage, what are we doing with storage? Storage give us the opportunity to save our images, our files. Let's say I authenticated with my with user with my email, and the application gets my image, or wants my image, wants my some other documents. So when I upload them, where we gonna where the application hold them, store them. Also the Firebase storage. So with the Firebase storage, you can store your files, your images with such a two lines of code. You can put data in your image, your file, and send it to the store. And after you sending, you can told the task, the upload task, on complete. When it's on complete, you can call the reference, and you can get the download URL. And when you get the download URL, you can hold it like in your database. The user, and the user has the image URL, and the image URL is the URL that I get from the storage reference get download URL. So you can hold it like that, and you can use it everywhere in your user object. So what about the large files? Okay, we can install the one small image, or a small package with couple megabytes. But what about the large files? So with storage thing, you can upload also your large files with upload task, the storage upload task. Also, you can get the storage task snapshot with the like with the phase of upload, like this one. We can upload our file. When we upload our file to the storage, we can get the events, and the event can listen to the byte transferent and the byte count. So we can get what is the discount, what is the progress of the uploading. So we can hold it in a set state, and we can send it to the user to see what's the progress ongoing. So for the Firestore, there's two types of the data management databases in the Firebase. One of it's a real-time database, and the other one is Firestore. There is some two little configurations between it, but the Firestore is most popular and most used at the moment, I guess, because I am also using it for all my projects. So Firestore give us a NoSQL database thing. So your objects, when you create objects, you can hold your data like tree, but they are not gonna be relate or hold keys, or they are not having any relations with each other. So with your data section, you can start a collection, and you can add documents in it, and in your documents you can add the parameters, the name, URL, date, time, location, or such a different things in your in your object, and you can call or update or delete whenever you want with using Firestore commands from your app. So from the upper part, the rules, also you can describe your rules for your database, like who is going to enable to access your data, who is going to enable write it, only admin users maybe. So you can also describe it from your rules. So for getting some documents from Firestore, let's say, it's such seeming like a complicated thing to get data from Firebase and pasting it to the screen like this. But when you get the data like streams and use it like dynamic data model to stream it and also assert it to the screen, you have such a different complicated things, or you can handle with query snapshot, the async snapshots, and such a different things. But then you get one model for the Firestore and get all your data things on and the services and the operations in there. You can have like such a this great thing for like in our example for creating user, like I have one collection like users, and for create user I have the document with user ID and set data. I'm going to create a new user that is type is user. Is user exist, I can control if documents with ID is there or not there. Get user, I can go and get document with specific ID, specific UID, and I can update it also and delete it. So when you do your operations like such a these streams or features, you can also get it from your operations class, like a single line of code, like Firestore instance get my user or get my list, and after that data comes, I can just put it like snapshot data name, or if the user is not dynamic, we say snapshot data dot which my user is, that name is my user's name or that display name. So I can assert the display name, and we can have get our data from Firestore. And also one trick for the Firestore, also it also enables for the real-time database, but implement things like such a little bit different type. If you want to your data keep persistence when you're doing your operations or when you're going to offline, you can use your database instance keep persistence enabled true, and it can cache your data up to how much megabyte I don't know, but they're preferring like going up to 10 megabytes or maybe something little up it. But yeah, it can okay for some holding the core things offline. So we pass to the analytics. So for Firebase Analytics, you can just create your analytics class. I give an example like such a different case in there, because I use Locator. Locator is a different package, like you can describe your instances or your services at the beginning of the app or whatever you want, and when you create the instance you can hold and you use the same instance all over the app, all the app's life cycle. So it's such a great package. I recommend to go and look about it. But anyway, for the analytics, I just created my singleton analytics service at the beginning of that, and after that I give the observer for my the navigator observer to the analytics observer. So after that, when my material app, then my app starts up, the analytics is automatically starts and tracking for my events. So after that, if we are using routes, it can tracks you automatically. I just typed it wrong. I just save it. When you use root type like /main, like /login page, like that, it can track you automatically. But when you not using like a page routing type, and you are routing your between your pages with material page routing, you have to go to the material page root thing and describe like root settings, and you have to put your page name in it to analytics understand and track your page. And you have to also do it all your material page routing methods all over the app. So for the tracking our events or streams or properties, for now we can create app features about it. Let's say about the user set property, and put it string user ID and role, and let the analytics track about it. And when the user log in or log out or do something that we tracked, we can do we can see also where is the user going and where is in the app, and what he or she did. So after the analytics, we came to the last point, to Crashlytics. So for the Crashlytics, before you go to the implement, you have to add some other configurations to your build Gradle file. So you have to add your Firebase Crashlytics Gradle in your dependencies. Also make sure you have the Google Maven repository in your repositories. Also after that, to the app build Gradle file, you have to add the dependency of Crashlytics, and adding the apply plugin for the Firebase Crashlytics. So after that, you can enable the in-dev mode in your before you are running your app, and after that you can track and record the Crashlytics, or start recording your crash all over your app, and you can get all the crash things at the end of the day. And yes, for the resources also, we have talked about Mayor at the backstage before the event starts about the resources. So I told also him there are so many resources, and for the course thing, I just preferring the Abbreviary course that also Flutter telling Flutter told, and they are also giving and putting tweets about it, so you can go and take this course from Abbreviary because it's free now, and you can start your Flutter adventure. But for the mainly resources, I can tell you that I'm following the Flutter weekly for weekly Flutter updates. What are the new packages? What are the new libraries of the week, or the things of the week that we can consider about it. So the second main source, but for me is the great source, is Flutter Awesome. Flutter Awesome is also, it's mainly a GitHub project that containing one readme file, and in this readme file you can find anything you want. Let's say if you developing a Flutter app with Google Maps, let's say. When you search about Google Maps in the Flutter Awesome, you can find the videos, the blog posts, also the projects, the code snips about it, the libraries about it. So you can have so many things, and such a great things to use and to understand how you get for the subject. Also, you maybe all know about Pawan. I am also the fan of it, fan of him. I'm also following him, and he's such a great, doing great things. So I am following him apps and resource. So also the Velocities, the newer library of him. He is also it's also great. So I'm preferring his resources, his GitHub and YouTube channel also. And lastly, I'm preferring the itsallwidgets.com, and it's a site built from the Flutter GDs and Flutter enthusiasts, and people uploading their Flutter built apps in there, and you can find such a great looking and such a great apps with great architectures and great state management models in there, and you can also see their app sources, the code, the source code from GitHubs, and you can find anything you want in there. So it's any question. Okay. What's the difference between Firestore and real-time database? I am also reading from the live. Yeah. Oh, Meyer, here you can. The differences between Firestore and real-time database is how can I explain? Like in a real-time database, like you have an such a real-time you can access with snapshots, but also you can have your data faster. But with your Firestore, you have more secure and more such a great data model in there, and you it's also more great data model has from the real-time database. The one of the other things, other difference between them, you can access your real-time database from JSON, or from putting that JSON in your Firestore or in your Firebase link, Firebase project link, and in the Firestore you can't have it in from the Firestore. You have data dynamic, and from the real-time database you have the JSON one. So yes, I guess that's the differences. Do you suggest learning?
Can I use Firebase in a production?
Can I use Firebase in production? Yes, you can. I am also using Firebase in production, such as multiple apps. I am also right now I am just working on 3 apps, and 2 of them is such a big companies who have a lot of monies on their apps, and they are liking the Flutter, also the Flutter app, the native looking, and they are looking forward to going to the market. So yeah, IAM and people doing these things and taking their apps production who built with Flutter.
Okay. Next question is from Ravi. Do you suggest learning multiple cross-platform framework in today's generation?
I decided it 2 years ago. To answer this question, 2 years ago, I just asked this question myself: should I learn to the cross-platform or should I stay to the native? Because Earth is such a different place. Some people are fan of native development. Some developers are fan of cross-platform. But when you get something in your hand, it's like building all the platforms, but they are saying it native. Yes, you can say at that point, yes, I can learn the cross platform because from the cross platform, we can say Flutter for now. And like when I started developing apps with Flutter, I was Android developer before that. Also, I am also doing the Android things. I am not just held up such a this thing, but when I start developing apps with Flutter, I just say to myself, okay, Android is great. We are doing great development in there, but how about writing once and getting 3 builds with for 3 platforms about it? Yeah, it seems okay. So let's start doing things about Flutter and learn about it. I say.
Okay. And how do you structure Firebase Cloud Store?
How do we structure Firebase Cloud Store? For me, in my structure, I am doing such a creating a single Firebase instance at the beginning of the app, starting with locator. I also told about locator in the presentation. It's a library that helps you, that create your services or your models like single instance, and it can and they can you can reach them from all the app life cycle whenever you want. So I'm creating my services at the beginning of the app with locator, my Auth service, my Firestore service, my database service, all of them. And after that, when I need some data, I just told the model from VI, pushing one button or passing the another page, and the view says to the model, I need this data, and model says to the service, okay, get me the data, give me this data, and the service takes the data and gives to the model, and model takes it and gives to the UI, and all the problems were solved on the Firestore and the Flutter app view side. I'm also using provider architecture, just a tip.
And how can we decrease document reads?
How we can decrease document reads. You can store it in your app, and maybe you can update them such a different time spaces, like every half an hour or every 1 hour with duration widget. You can do that also, the feature duration. So maybe that's why user can't always go and take data whenever he wants, or like pushing down from screen, like to get data and get the update. Yeah, you can prevent that like it.
And how can we update 2 documents at a time?
You can use transaction, the Firestore transaction. With the transaction, you can build like a async function after transaction. You can add the transaction, your update methods like one another, and after you put all of them, you can say the transaction, okay, build or transaction update or transaction set, and you can update two or multiple documents at once. Oh, I saw the
Now,
I saw the Paresh comments right now. Oh yeah,
yeah, and one of for developer relation, Barish is developer relation.
yeah. I know. What is the difference between block and provider? Also we are discussing about it discussing about it from a couple days between us in the Turkey community, in Turkey Flutter community. What's the difference between block or provider? Why we have to use the block or something else? Saying that why we have to use provider instance of block. So uh, they are they have such a little differences between them, not too much, but when you use your block architecture in your app, you have to do such a lot of things and lot of init state methods and init button state, init error state, init enable state things in your documentation. Uh, so in your model, um, to do that, you can simply use provider and such get uh, some method, and after that method you can say notify listeners, and it ends. So they are all in the background using the notify listeners somewhere, but the block mostly uses streams for the navigating data and navigating the data changes for the view from the model. But yeah, and at the end of the day they are doing same thing for me, I guess, for the not big scale applications, we say.
I hope we have done questions.
Okay, it, it's end. Great talk and
Yeah,
creating. Thanks a lot, guys. So I thanks to you so much for coming and listening me here, and you can reach me from Twitter or from mail whenever you want, and you can ask me questions whenever and whatever it is, and I can answer them as much as I can. And the last one question I saw, the which is the best for complex app like shopping app? Which is the complex for shopping app? Okay, you say shopping, but how many screens? What is the complex in it? Okay, we have the shop item, the shopping list, shop item. I have the like my bag there, and my item goes my bag. There are such a 4 or 5. Okay, we have also a detail screen. Okay, comments, likes, maybe. Yeah, you can also hold all your states with block. Maybe you have to search and other things. Like when we say state management, we don't have only provider or block. We also have the Redux, the RX. Maybe we have Mobix, the newly. If you came from the web development tree, maybe you are familiar with it. But the simplest one everyone says is provider, and also for me is provider. But I know that when the application coming the big scale, like so much big scale, like we say we are doing the Google AdWords app right now, or we are doing the Splice app right now. Okay, we can do it with block for my command. Okay.
Okay. Now we are done with it.
Okay.
Thank you, Sercan. Okay, guys.
Okay.
We'll meet in the next one. So, hope
Okay.
your
Okay. I also thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
stay safe, stay home.